In order to gain muscle, many of us do weight training. And for those of us that do weight training at home, it can often be frustrating to keep having to change the weights with every different exercise. An alternative to conventional dumbbells can be an adjustable dumbbell kit. And today we're going to be reviewing the Bowflex adjustable dumbbell kit. These weights are the Bowflex adjustable dumbbells SelectTech 552. And you can adjust them to weigh between 5 and 52.5 pounds, or about 2 to 21 kilos. This particular set denominates everything in kilos. Alright, so the dumbbells work like this. You can select the weight which you want, which is here on the dial. So all you have to do, for example, if I want 10 kilos, I just rotate it until I see the 10, and I do the same on the other side. And then when you lift, only 10 kilos will be attached to the weight. So if we take another example, we want to go down to 5 kilos, all I gotta do is go back down to 5, back to 5, lift, and there we go. So as you see, it's a no-brainer. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the dumbbells. Basically, adjustable dumbbells need to have an easy user interface. These definitely have that. As you saw, it's really easy to just change the weights and get the weight which you want. I would say this already gives about 80% of the requirements of an adjustable dumbbell kit. You can also rotate the dial and have different weights on each side. So if you would want to have a larger weight on one side and less weight on the other side, you can do that as well, and that's very handy for certain exercises. There's also a safety feature on these dumbbells that if you don't dial to an exact number, then the weights will lock, and this will help prevent the danger of one of the weights falling off during an exercise. Handy, of course. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is the grip. One of the first things I noticed about the dumbbells is its grip. It has this kind of plastic rubber ergonomic grip with a thicker middle than the outside. For me personally, I don't like this feature. Whenever a product tries to match itself perfectly to the body, it usually doesn't work. And I don't like that too much. I would much rather have a straight grip with no questions asked. I'm also not a particularly big guy, so without massive hands, and when I grab the dumbbells, I feel that it's a bit too thick for me in the middle, and that's of course not convenient. Alright, another thing I want to point out is that the sides of the dumbbells are rubber. And this feature, or if you want to call it a feature, this feature I kind of like, because when you're doing things like shoulder press or when the weights might hit each other, they don't slam into each other like metal weights do, and you get shrapnel flying into your eye and sparks flying. They just kind of bounce off each other, and that I like. Now, having said that, sometimes it is a bit too bouncy and you might lose a little bit of control, but overall it's a good thing to have. Alright. One of the main downsides of this product, I would say, is the size. Now, these dumbbells are big, and this can be kind of strenuous when you want to do exercises where the weights need to come close to each other or to go close to your body, and they can be kind of disruptive. An example can be when you're doing an incline dumbbell press and you want to push inwards, and you can't push inwards because the weights are just too big. So you kind of have to push more on the outside. Another example can be when you're doing hammer curls and they kind of disrupt as they go past your body because they are just too big. Now, this is tolerable, but I would say there is definitely room for improvement here. Another thing that I'd like to mention is that although I have been using these and I haven't been having problems, when I pick them up, I do always kind of have the feeling that the weights are brittle, and you can kind of hear the weights kind of moving a little bit, and and that's not something you really want to feel. You don't want to feel that the weights are brittle, especially when you're tired and you need to slam them down. Now, I haven't heard of them breaking or anything like that, but it's not such a good feeling. One more thing about the dumbbells is that when you pick them up, if you look, most of the weights is on the bottom area, because on the top you have the place where you can insert the dumbbells back. Now what that means is that there's slightly more weight on one side of the weight, on the bottom side, than on the top. And that means that when you are doing curls or whatever it may be, then sometimes you feel that the weight wants to rotate and go in a different direction. Now it's usually negligible and you don't feel it, but I have heard of people not liking that. So that is a small remark. I would say that most of the time you don't feel it, but it's there. Alright, like I said, this is the SelectTech 552, and that goes from 5 to 52.5 pounds. And there is also a SelectTech 1090, and those range from 10 to 90 pounds, or about 5 to 45 kilos. They are not extendable, so you cannot extend them, so once you buy them, you just have to live with them. Some other things you can get with the dumbbells is that they have their own kind of stand, but this is at an additional cost. If you really want it, you can get it, but you can also place it on something else, of course. Alright, now let's get down to it and ask how much. I don't want to talk too much about the price because viewers from all over the world are going to have different prices, but if you look it up quickly on the net, you'll see that it'll probably cost about $400 US. The people in Europe can probably expect to pay quite a bit more than that. So they are not cheap by any standard. Alright, now let's talk about the alternatives. The Bowflex do have competition, but not many. And you might find the competition may be better in terms of grip or in terms of size, but they are also going to have their disadvantages. So both the Bowflex and its competitors are going to have their own advantages and disadvantages. Alright, in general, these weights are going to be much quicker than conventional dumbbells where you have to take off and put on weights manually. If you do round-robin routines where you need to change the exercises often and quickly, then these will of course be much quicker and much easier to work with. You also have the range right there, the range of weights right there when you need it, and then you don't need to buy additional weights, of course. Okay, overall this is a pretty good product and it will probably meet most of your dumbbell needs. So, but do your homework and research about this and about other products, because there are alternatives, and choose what's best for you. And if you have any questions, then just post them on the Double D forum. Thanks!